What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video here on Ranger Central. And today I'm going to do a video that did very, very well last off season. So I figured why not do it again? Not only because it did well, because it was also fun to make, and it's kind of something that should be made. Because right now I'm freaking bored. I'm firing out tweets on the daily pretty much that I'm missing the Audi goaltending matchup. I'm missing the MSG 150, whatever. I just miss Rangers hockey right now, just like you guys, because if you're watching this video in the summer, you're a hardcore hockey fan like me. And obviously, we're just dying for this season to just get underway. And I'm just excited for it. But we are going to talk about we're going to do a full recap. We're going to do a full recap here. We're going to talk about who the Rangers added this offseason, who left this offseason, what the lines could look like for next season. And I'm just going to probably ramble a bit too about how I'm feeling about the team and everything, because I'm fired up. I don't know about you guys, but I am fired up right now because I feel confident, more confident going into this year than I have in quite some time. I understand that it's hard to beat where we were last year because, okay, the team's coming off an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. They get some learning experience. They'll come in the next year and they'll come out swing and they'll come out hot and they'll do what they need to do. And then obviously things did not go the way that it was playing last year between the nightmare start of a season. And I mean nightmare. October wasn't really awful, but once it hit November, wow, was it just brutal to watch. Even October was a weird month at times. They had that opening night win, and everyone thought, wow, this team is going to be dangerous, and this team's going to be a legit threat in the East. And this might be the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. Like, from one game, with how crisp that game went, it was like, wow, when they're at the top of their game, who's beating them? Who's beating them? And unfortunately, then things went in a spiral. They had some weird games, especially the one in Winnipeg. They had a weird one against Minnesota where they destroyed Minnesota, but it was also still a weird game. And then, of course, you fast forward to November, December, where it just absolutely was a meltdown. And we were looking at a scenario where this team was one loss away from firing Gerard Gallant, which ended up happening after the season, of course. But that game against the St. Louis Blues in December, if the New York Rangers lost that game, it was more likely than not, at least according to multiple reporters, that the Rangers were going to fire Gerard Gallant after that game. So we could have looked at what could have been a catastrophic season, and who knows who would have took over and what it would have looked like. But all I know is that that's in the past. And yeah, December was catastrophic. They start to heat up again. Towards the end, they go on a 7-game winning streak, 6-7-game winning streak. And then we go into January hot, and they're squeaking out wins. They make the trade for Tarasenko in January. And then all of a sudden, they keep going closer towards the trade deadline. They bring Tyler Mott in. Then all of a sudden, we get closer, and it's like, wow, the Rangers could actually mathematically fit Patrick Kane onto this team. And rumors and rumors and rumors, and we're waiting weeks and weeks for Patrick Kane to officially be a Ranger, for the Rangers to have the amount of cap space they need. They're freaking doing cap gymnastics. We got Keandre Miller spitting on Drew Doughty, getting suspended. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, the Rangers acquire Patrick Kane. And you look at this team on paper and you say, if this team was not getting stopped last year, which they did, but if that team barely got stopped last year, who was stopping them going into this season in the playoffs? Well, we unfortunately got our answer in round one, and it was the New Jersey Devils. And it sucks because you looked at the lineup post-trade deadline and you thought, who was beating this Rangers team? You had Panarin, Zibanejad, Tarasenko, Kreider, Trocheck, Kane, Lafreniere, Hedel, Kakko, and then you had on the fourth line VC, Gaudreau, Mott, and it was like, who is beating that hockey team? And unfortunately, again, it was the Devils. And granted, I think a lot of it had to do with coaching, which is why I am feeling confident going into next season for the Rangers to be better. Because you look at Laviolette's track record, nothing but success with this guy. And I don't care what people say about his recent tenure in Washington. What did he have with the Washington Capitals? An aging core, an aging Alex Ovechkin surrounded by what? An unhealthy Nicholas Backstrom, an unhealthy Tom Wilson, a whatever Kuznetsov is at this point, an injured Anthony Mantha. Seriously, what did Laviolette have that people think that he should have thrived with Washington? I just want someone to let me try to comprehend that. Let someone try to explain to me in a way that it makes sense, because I can't get why people say that. You look at this team that the Rangers are rolling out there, it's far and away better than what Washington was rolling out there. And if you look at if you want to watch my full breakdown, I'm not going to break it down again. If you want to and you're interested, go back to my initial live stream where the Rangers hired Peter Laviolette. You could hear me break down, and I broke this down, how good Laviolette of a coach is, especially with 5v5 play, which what have the Rangers struggled with entirely since back with David Quinn, even 5v5 hockey. So I am feeling better than ever about this team, and Nashville was so good 5v5 with Laviolette at the helm and behind the bench. And he did that with a Nashville team that sneaked into the wild card one of those years and then went on a cup run. Imagine what he could do with a team that's probably bound to finish top 3 in the division unless something unforeseen happens, and God forbid something happens. Let's knock on wood there. But a team that's more likely than not, finishing top 3 in the division, and that has arguably the best goaltender in the National Hockey League, a top 2 defenseman in the National Hockey League, a top 10 winger in the National Hockey League. Granted, I understand with Panarin, there's concerns about the fact that he didn't show up in the playoffs. There's no way around it, but we have to just hope that he's going to be able to improve next year for the playoffs. You have one of the better centers in hockey. Would like to see his 5v5 play improve, but that's what Laviolette's here for. He's here to help this team take the next step, to help this team be good 5v5. It's not like they're just bringing him in because, oh, look at the track record, he's a winning coach. No, he doesn't win just because of the team. He's a good, legitimate coach. And I'm tired of hearing people be so down because he's a retread because of what he did in Washington. How about you look at what he did in Nashville? How about you look at a bigger sample size versus, 2 to 3 years in Washington with an aging core? I know the Rangers have somewhat of an older core now with the guys they brought in, but you still have some exciting young talent. You still have elite talent on this team. Look at what happened to Rasmus. People say he did nothing for young players in Washington. Look what happened to Rasmus Sandin when that guy got traded over to Washington. Look at what happened. What's that going to mean for Keandre Miller? Could that be good news? I hope so. Especially because they just signed him to an extension. But regardless, I'm just trying to understand why people are not looking at this as an exciting season. Nobody's hyping up this season like they did last year. I get that again. Last year was easier coming off a conference finals run versus here where they choked a 2-0 lead again. And it was a nightmare the way they lost to the Devils. And it's because they lost to the Devils. It was a round 1 exit. I get all of that. But there is no reason to believe that this team is not better today than they were going into opening night last season. Can anybody argue me otherwise? Can anybody? Because it was a lock last year that Blais and or Goudreau were playing in the top 6 for this team. I still don't feel entirely comfortable with the right wing depth, but I feel way more comfortable with this roster right now than I did today a year ago. And that says a lot because we know Drury has balls. We know he's going to be willing to make the moves that he needs to at the deadline. And I'm not worried about that. What I'm more concerned about is the Rangers starting off better than they did last year. And I cannot imagine them. This is why, spoiler alert from when I do my prediction video, I have the Rangers finishing second in the Metropolitan Division. I cannot envision this team hitting the wall that they did last year. Again, I can't envision it. I just can't envision that happening 2 years in a row. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I can't imagine it with Laviolette behind the bench, a actual good coach that is going to deploy players the right way, actually implement systems into this hockey team, and have them prepared from day one with a winning mentality. Not what Gerard Gallant did, where it's let's sit back, go out there and have fun, because that's basically what the players basically admitted themselves. That's what it was with Gerard Gallant behind the bench. In the exit interviews, Barca Gudros asked about Gerard Gallant. His answer basically was, he tells us to just go out there and play. And did you hear the way Jacob Trouba hesitated to answer that question when he was asked about Gerard Gallant? And that's the guy Gerard Gallant named captain too. Not even the captain liked him as the coach. That speaks volumes to how bad things were last year. Things are going to be different this year. Am I being biased? Maybe. Am I being over-optimistic? Maybe. Maybe. Time will tell if I'm wrong. If I look like an idiot, fine. I look like an idiot. I've been wrong before. And I could admit if I am. Again. But I just have a hard time personally going into next season, looking at the way that this roster is and envisioning, and with who's behind the bench too, with a great coaching staff too. Let's not even forget the assistant coaches too. Pekka, what's he gonna do for the power play? Right? There's so much promise with this team. So much promise. And I have faith that this team is going to take the next step, and this team has a chip on their shoulder too from last year. You're hearing Kreider talk about how he kind of has that chip on his shoulder and everybody should on the team after that. Good. Be sick to your stomach with how pitiful that performance was and how embarrassing it was. Go out there and prove everybody wrong that is saying that the Rangers peaked, they fluked in 2022, this and that. Go shut them up. And show Gerard Gallant that he does not belong behind an NHL bench. I'm not rooting for the guy to not have a job because he's a great guy, but come on, to say that he's an NHL caliber coach is nonsense. Statboy Steven says it perfectly every time. He's the perfect interim coach. If you fire a guy midseason, Gerard Gallant's the guy you want in, because he tells you to go out there and have fun and go out there and go skate and do your thing and just go play hockey and be best buddies. No. That's not what's going to happen this year. No. Gone are going to be the days of the whole buddy friendship thing and keeping lines together because buddy friendship thing. No more of that. Gone are those days. With Laviolette, it's all we're doing what is best for this hockey team. We're putting the best 20 guys out there on a nightly basis. It's we're going out there and giving it our all every game. It's we don't care about friendships. It's a matter of every single guy in the room buying in. And that's what's more important, and that's what I'm excited for. I want people to start being more pumped the way I am for the season. I'm so in on them this season. And by the way, when I mentioned they finished second in the Metro, the team that I have finishing ahead of them is the Carolina Hurricanes. Third, I have the Devils. And the reason why is because of the fact that the Devils had that 14-game win streak last year. I don't know how they replicate that. And Vanacek kind of hit a wall at the end of the year last year, and I don't know if he's going to be what he was at the start of last year again this year. I just have some questions about the Devils themselves. Plus, I don't trust Lindy Ruff as a coach. I just have questions about the Devils, but that will be for my predictions video, the full thing, and I don't care about the Devils to begin with. Don't care. Because if they suck, good news. Will they suck? Probably not. They're probably still going to be a threat and a pain in the Rangers' butts this year. But I think the Rangers, in the regular season at the very least, will be a better hockey team because they're going to come out from day one playing the right way. But let's get into the offseason recap since I rambled, because I said I was going to ramble anyway. Might as well ramble before, because I'm trying to get the fan base juvenated. I'm trying to get everyone pumped and get ready for the season, because there is no reason not to be hyped for this season. But let's talk about it. So let's get into what the Rangers did this offseason. So on the left, we have the addition side. On the right, we have the subtraction side. So for the additions for this team, they signed Blake Wheeler for 1 year at $800K. Nice little depth. Well, not really depth, more like nice right wing depth, I should say. And a good right winger to add. Mostly good for his playmaking. If you want my full breakdown on Blake Wheeler, go watch the initial video where they signed him. But he, of course, is going to slot in probably somewhere in the top 9 on the right side. Nick Bonino signed for 1 year at $800K as well. Another guy where he got a lot of signing bonuses, 35 plus, which is what the Rangers really did with a lot of these deals, which I love that work by Chris Drury. And I love how they actually use their noggin and maximize their cap space to get as much depth as possible. Nick Bonino is no slouch as the fourth line center. I love Tyler Mott, and I hope that maybe the Rangers could somehow bring him back. I think that would be great. However, if they don't bring him back, Nick Bonino is a good enough replacement. The only question that I have with Bonino is health, but you would have had that question with Tyler Mott too. So then you have Tyler Pitlick, who could play on the wing mostly, but he could play center if you want to. Probably going to slot in on that fourth line with Nick Bonino. He got signed to a 1 year deal worth $787K. So again, just more forward depth. Alex Belzile, more forward depth. 2 year deal for him though, $775K. I'd imagine that they're looking to just have some extra depth, and he might be in Hartford for the year as well. So they wanted a guy on 2 years to help with that. Eric Gustafsson, the guy who I'm most intrigued and excited about that the Rangers signed, $825K for 1 year for him. Going to be great on the back end, and he's going to add a element to the Rangers back end that they kind of lacked to an extent, because Adam Fox definitely moves the puck well, but Eric Gustafsson is really good at moving the puck, and he's really good at hockey, because I explained in that video, if you look at the other defensemen that signed that put up similar production as him, what a bargain by Chris Drury and the Rangers. Then you have Connor Mackey, 1 year, $775K, just depth for the left side as well, which is interesting because you already have Jones and Gustafsson there. Jones got extended this offseason. Gustafsson ended up being signed. So it's interesting where Connor Mackey's going to slide in, unless Laviolette envisions him being the guy to take over on the right side. God forbid there is an injury this season, but still low risk signing. It is what it is. He'll probably be in Hartford most of the year. Then you have Jonathan Quick, who is brought in to be the backup goaltender this year. Let's hope Benoit Allaire could squeeze a little bit more out of Jonathan Quick, whatever there is remaining in him, as he signed the 1 year, $825K. This is where I'm a little sketchy when it comes to the Rangers, is how Jonathan Quick is going to perform. But if the team in front of him performs well and they buy in, we shouldn't have concerns with Jonathan Quick. Then we have Riley Nash, $775K for 2 years, like Alex Belzile, just a guy to rotate in at forward, and he is probably also going to spend time in Hartford. Then Matt Caldwell, the only right-handed defenseman that they signed depth-wise this season, which I find interesting. He got signed a 1 year, $775K deal. So Matt Caldwell, not sure what he's going to contribute for this team. I think they would have to go very far down the depth chart for him to play this season. So let's hope that does not happen. On the subtractions end, Vladimir Tarasenko goes to the Ottawa Senators. Huge loss to the top 6. I loved Vladimir Tarasenko. I love the goal scoring that he brought. But hey, he only signed a 1 year deal in Ottawa. If Ottawa is struggling, they could do a Tyler Mott and bring him back at the deadline. I'm just saying. But Vladimir Tarasenko, he'll fit in well in Ottawa. That's probably one of the tougher losses, probably the toughest loss for the Rangers outside of maybe one, because we don't know yet. But Nico Mikkola, he signed with the Florida Panthers. The Panthers need defensive depth, so makes sense there. And the Rangers kind of replaced Nico Mikkola with what I think is a better solution in getting a quicker, more mobile defenseman on the back end to play with Braden Schneider. I think that Gustafson's going to fit better with the way Schneider plays. But Mikkola, let's not pretend that he didn't step up big last year, especially when Ryan Lindgren was unhealthy for parts of the season. Nico Mikkola stepped in and took those top pair minutes, and he did fantastic on them. So, not fantastic, but he did good enough, I should say. So, Nico Mikkola, wish him nothing but the best. As I realize I put 2 Ks in Nico, so ignore that, please. But I mixed up his first and last name a bit there. Leave me alone. Then we have Patrick Kane, who you have a question mark next to because he is still unsigned and is a free agent and probably will not be signed until the season. And I question if he's even going to sign until he turns 35. I feel like if the Rangers bring him back, they would do what they did with everyone, where they'd sign him to that 35 plus deal where he could have the bonuses, lower AAV towards the cap. So Patrick Kane is a guy that I think is realistic for the Rangers to come back, and that's one of your quote unquote trade deadline acquisitions, because he'll probably come back in December or January. That's what the timetable is looking like for Patrick Kane. And I would definitely welcome him back with open arms, because the production that he gave last year for the Rangers with one hip and unhealthy is absurd. Imagine what he's going to do with that hip all cleaned up. And he even said himself that he feels he could have contributed more to the team. And imagine what he will contribute to the team when he is healthy. Then we have Lieber Hayek, who's going to be a free agent. So long. That's all I have to say there. Ryan Carpenter goes to the Sharks. So long. William Lockwood, a guy who they got at the trade deadline last year. I think he was in the Kravtsov deal, and then the other guy was in a separate deal. But William Lockwood goes to the Florida Panthers. Just some loss for the Hartford Wolfpack, unfortunately. And then same goes for Wyatt Kalynuk. He's going to the St. Louis Blues, another guy they got to help for Hartford for their playoff push last year. He's gone. Yaroslav Halak, interestingly, still unsigned. And it looked like the Rangers were going to bring him back earlier on before free agency. And then things took a turn and they pivoted towards Jonathan Quick. So Yaroslav Halak will be a free agent and sign elsewhere. I'll miss him as a backup. I thought he was very good despite his rough start. I thought he picked it up towards the end. And yeah, I wish him luck. Tim Gettinger, more loss for Hartford. He goes to Detroit. And you guys know I would welcome Tyler Mott back with open arms if he decided to come back, or if the Rangers found a way to bring him back. He is a free agent as well somehow, but we'll see what happens there. Again, the Rangers maybe circle back. We will have to wait and see. But let's move on now to line combinations. So these are the line combinations that I personally would roll with. And then we're going to switch over to what I think the line combinations will be for this upcoming season. So let's kick it off with the forward group. For the first line, I think that the Rangers should deploy Kreider, Zibanejad, Kakko together. And my reasoning behind that is the fact that that line produced so well early on in the season last year. It's just Gerard Gallant did not give it enough of a chance for them to start producing. But if you look at all the metrics, if you look at even the eye test told you, that line was producing and generating so many chances. And I think that if you give them the opportunity and just give them the chance to break through, it's going to happen. And yeah, that first line, I think, would be very, very lethal. Second line, Panarin, Hedl, Lafreniere. I think it's time that we move Hedl up to the second line. Don't you guys think? And then Lafreniere on the second line too. Going to be interesting to see if he's willing to play the right side. I have my questions with Lafreniere in general. I think that Kakko and Hedl are going to take steps forward. I really do, especially Kakko. I have high hopes for Kakko, and I think the points are going to come. He looks determined and ready. Meanwhile, Lafreniere's on the baseball field not signing a contract, so a little interesting and a little concerning, but I think that this would be a very good second line. I think it gives Lafreniere a chance to help him get some point production and let him play more of his game that he played in juniors, where Philip Hedl could really shoot the puck more on that line and kind of be in command of that line with the way that he plays the game and the speed. And then Panarin, I feel like it will match Hedl's game. I think the two of them are kind of meant to play together. And then you have Gaudreau, Trocheck, Wheeler, where this is kind of more of your stereotypical shutdown line, if you will, or quote unquote shutdown line, if you will, where I know Wheeler isn't the best defensively when it comes to the metrics, and I know Gaudreau too, but Barclay Goodrow kind of played more of that role in Tampa, and you want to hope that he could find that game again that he had in Tampa Bay. And I feel like that would help this team go a long way. Trocheck finally playing in a role for this team that actually fits him, because he does not belong on a line with Artemi Panarin, in my opinion. And then Blake Wheeler would be on that right side. And I feel like that line could still produce a very good amount of points. And then the fourth line, VC, Bonino, Pitlick, who would be just an annoying line for opposing teams to go against. And then the deep pairs, there is no change at all. I have Lindgren, Fox, Miller, Trouba, Gustafsson, Schneider. The only change there, obviously, is Gustafsson, and then the goalies are Shesterkin and Quick. And then for the scratches, I think that the scratches for this season will end up being Harper, Jones, and Nash, because Jones would have to go through waivers. So unless there's a trade happening, I don't foresee Jones going to the AHL. And then Harper, I don't foresee him going to the AHL. I think they like him mostly as the seventh defenseman. And then Riley Nash is just the forward that I picked to end up making the team. Even though Johnny Brzezinski, hey, he's killing in these summer leagues. Look out for him. And then for shot at making the team, you have Offman, Cully, Belzile, Lecision, lol, Brzezinski, Mackey, Hallwell, Robertson, which I have my questions about, and then Ty Emerson, I feel like could be a sneaky name. So that is what I would do for the line combinations. Now we'll move into what I think the lines will actually be come opening night. And again, I don't want it to be this way, but I think that's most likely going to, as Kreider, Zibanejad, and Kakko will be the first line. I still feel strong that that's going to be the way that it is. The second line, Panarin, Trocheck, Wheeler. I just feel like they're going to try so hard to force Wheeler into that top six. Same with Trocheck. And just because of the way that Trocheck's being paid, especially, I feel like they're going to try to force it. So, yeah. And then I don't know how they feel with Lafreniere on the right side. So I feel like Wheeler's going to end up in that top six on the right side. Then you have Lafreniere, Hedel, Gaudreau, which I don't mind Lafreniere and Hedel playing together because they have before, but Barkley, Gaudreau, yuck. And this is where I wish Patrick Kane was still on the team, because Gaudreau would slot to the fourth line. Pitlick or VC would come out of the lineup, and then you have no problem. And then Wheeler could play the third line. Kane could play the second line, and we're all happy. But again, we will have to see. And then the deep pairs, I think, are going to remain the same. I don't foresee any changes there. Goalies, Shesterkin and Quick. And then the scratches, I have the same. And then shot at making the team have the exact same. Then we get to the special teams, where I think we're going to see actually some very big changes. I think that with the way that the coaching staff is now, they are going to promote the youth, and they are going to try to give some chances here on the power play. And with those chances, I think that you are going to see more of a 1A, 1B unit type thing that the Rangers attempted last year, and that actually kind of worked after the trade deadline. Kreider's the net front guy in power play 1. That's a lock. That is not a question. Zibanejad in that left circle, lock, not a question. Fox the quarterback, not a question. Things get a little tricky here. Hedel and Lafreniere is who I went with. I feel like Lafreniere, you want to get a left shot in that right circle, so why not throw Lafreniere there and give him the chance? And I feel like Philip Hedel would fit well in the bumper. I wouldn't be against too if they wanted to flip Lafreniere and Hedel, put Hedel in that circle and then Lafreniere in the bumper. I feel like that would work too if they wanted to go that route. But I think we're going to see two of the younger players out of Lafreniere, Hedel, and Kakko get power play 1 minutes. And then for power play 2, Trocheck as the net front guy, Wheeler in the bumper, Panarin in the left circle, because you have Zibanejad in the left circle on that top unit, Panarin on the second. Because let's be honest, Zibanejad in the bumper did not work. Panarin in the right circle is useless. Please, let's just do a 1A, 1B and put these guys in the left circle on each power play unit. Kakko then on the right side. Again, you get a left shot there on the right, in the right circle, and I feel like that he would do very well there. And then you have Gustafsson quarterbacking that power play, because gone should the days be of Jacob Trouba being the quarterback. And then the penalty kill, you have some options if you are Peter Laviolette. You got Barkley, Gaudreau, and Jimmy Vesey. And then Lindgren and Fox, that was kind of what we saw last year, so I figured that would be a very good penalty kill 1. Penalty kill 2, Bonino and Zibanejad, and then Miller and Trouba being the defenseman there. And then for the other penalty kill options, you have Pitlick, you have Kreider, you have Kakko, you have Trocheck, who could all kill penalties. So I feel very good about the penalty kill, but we don't have to worry about Trocheck killing penalties, because most of the time he is going to be in the penalty box probably. So that's what I think the lines will be. And then I also put up what I want. Those were the additions. Those were the subtractions. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this Rangers team? Do you feel great? Do you not feel so good? How are you guys feeling? Are you in the middle? Because I personally, again, am feeling very, very optimistic about this Rangers team. Maybe I'm overhyping them a bit, but hey, I can admit I'm biased at times. But I just feel so much better about this team than I did even a month or two ago. So yeah, we will we'll see how things go. Again, let me know all your thoughts in the comment section. What would you want the lineup to be? Let me know everything in the comment section. Want to hear from you guys. Want to spark some conversation. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new and enjoyed the video. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live next on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one.